Hello and welcome to this Warhammer Age of Sigmar how to paint Sylvaneth models with me, Marc from the Sylvaneth channel, and the theme I did my models in is the autumn, season of autumn. So some of you may have seen earlier videos of me talking about is Age of Sigmar popular? I was just asking kind of a question to across the pond, Americas, Europe and in Britain, about whether Age of Sigmar is starting to become popular with the General's Handbook. And it is, and a lot of people are doing it. And when I was at Warhammer World at Christmas, I fell in love with the Sylvaneth. So I did some Google searches for paint schemes just to see what's going on. I mean, I've got the box for the Kernel of Hunters here, and it all seems to be greens and browns. I mean, there is some autumnal stuff here. And I've gone with the autumn, the season of autumn. I think the leaves and the bark are more vibrant, and I have enjoyed painting some of that. And in this video, I'm going to show you my models, where I'm up to date with that, and then go through how I have kind of painted them, with some discussion about how you can do it similarly, and also how to do the basing as well for them. So starting off, what you need to do is base them. Chaos Black is what I use. This base paint is good. I want it to be dark, and then build up to the light. That's how I've always learned to do with acrylics. So I've based it with Chaos Black, and then moving on, I kind of build it up. I've got my project box here with all the paints that I use. I start with Mournfang Brown. Now Mournfang Brown is a base paint, and you can either dry brush this on, a kind of heavy dry brush, or just layer it on over the top of the black. Once you've done this, if you want to do it really quickly, you can then just highlight and dry brush with lighter colours like Sandry Dust or a sharp bone. However, if you want to kind of develop the browns a little bit more, follow the stages that I did now, which is a slight dry brushing of Doombolt Brown, only in certain areas. You'll find with bark that it's not all the same colour, but you don't have big patches of this colour, big patch of this colour, big patch of this colour, which could look slightly off. You want it slightly more realistic. So with Doombolt Brown, you then follow it with Scrag Brown, which is slightly lighter. Those two are kind of similar colours on the brown palette. And again, just a light dry brushing here and there, either on the lighter, the thinner branches, or along the feet if you really want to. After you've done this, what I like to do is a lighter dry brush, Sandry Dust, or a sharp bone. Now this has to be a super ultra highlight. Hardly anything on your brush at all. Any heavy dry brushing here will mean you have to go back a couple of steps and do it all over again. It'll look slightly odd and unrealistic, which is not what I want. I want it to be extremely realistic and looking good on the board. Then for the leaves, a simple thing which I do is just use Troll Slayer Orange. I put them on all of the leaves, and then after that I'll wash the model in Agrax Earthshade. That'll be on the bark and the leaves. Let the leaves dry first, or you'll just have a lot of orange running down the model. Now they do have spiritual elements to them, and I follow the scheme that Games Workshop do, their basic scheme for ghosts and spiritual elements. So what you need to find yourself is some Celestial Grey, and then do a wash over that with, what's the pronunciation? Nihilic oxide, which is a technical paint. And then if you do want to highlight, you can go over it again with Celestial Grey or Ulfran Grey. Experiment with what you kind of like there. So this will be used on bodies such as Spirit Revenants, I think their name is, or weapons and stuff like that is what I've used on them. On my hunters, I'm going to use them on the bows as well. But as you can see in the pictures, that should have been going across if I've edited it correctly. The pictures will show you elements of the model, the druids, the spirit of Dratha, so on and so forth. Just for the model, the Drukia, that's her name, but she's like this. She's got honeycomb elements too. What I've done there is I've just used some Balor Brown, Avalon Sunset, and then I've done a slight highlighting, again, a Shakti bone, and then agraxed it, a tiny wash of agrax on top, and I found that's come out looking quite good, and not bold, just it kind of molds into the palette of the model, the colours I'm using. On some of the models there is things such as what looks like a gold trim, and all I do for that is Balor Brown and then over the top Auric Armour Gold on that. Again, agrax, nice shade of agrax over the top. For the basing of the models, what I do, I get some PVA glue, pop it on the model and do a mixture of fine sand and some coarse sand, let that dry, and then I'll base that in black, and then use Mournfang Brown as a dry brush on top, and then Ushabti Bone as a highlight dry brush, so not as much paint on the brush. What I'll do then is use some products from a company that I'm falling in love with, and it is the Model Display Products, www.modeldisplayproducts.co.uk. I'm going to put a link in the description below. Please check them out. I've fallen in love with their products, and so these are some flowers, autumn range of flowers there. And what you do, you just cut off what you need and you super glue them to the base. Awesome. I also use some autumn scatter from them. Like I said, they have an autumn range kit in there, and also they've got the different coloured autumnal leaves that I scatter across the base, as you can see. So that is the quick and easy how to paint an autumn Sylvaneth army. Chaos Black on the model, then layer or heavy dry brush of Mournfang Brown, followed by a bit of Scrag Brown, Doomball Brown if you want to highlight that, and then a very light dry brushing of either Zandri Dust or Ushabti Bone. For the ghostly elements, you'll use Celestial Grey and the technical paint I can't pronounce, Oxide. And then if you want to highlight on top of that, it'd be Ushabti or Celestial or Ulthuan Grey. And then if there is a gold trim, Balor Brown and Auroric Gold is what I like to use on there. And then finally for the basing, PVA glue, different kinds of sand, wait till it dries, black, Mournfang Brown, a highlight of Ushabti or Zandri Dust, again those two are quite similar paints. And then using the Model Display products, I like to do scattering of autumn scatter, leaves and some flowers on there, just adds a different vibrancy of colour as the model is very browny orangey. And for the leaves on the model, I use a Troll Slayer orange again with that one. So hopefully you like the pictures, the quick painting tutorial there. I'm gonna paint up some Kuranov hunters. The names are so hard to do, but I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please comment, share, like and subscribe. I'm going to be doing more Age of Sigmar content, and coming up will be some work on some death models. I've bought a load ranging from Vampire Lords, Skeleton Warriors to the Harbingers of Doom essentially, which I'm really excited to start painting. And again, I'm going to do some videos on them and the basing and stuff like that. So I'll see you on the next Age of Sigmar video. Have a lovely day. Goodbye.